What is happening, everybody? I hope you're having a happy Friday. This Friday is a happy Friday for two reasons. One, because it is Friday the 13th, to give everybody good luck. And two, because I am about to go over the juicy news of new ski lift upgrades for the 2025-2026 ski season. One of the most important parts of the skiing experience is how you get up the mountain, whether that is by chairlift, by gondola, by a platter, by bus, by train, or simply the old-fashioned way with your boots. It is always exciting whenever a ski resort puts in a new ski lift, or at least it is exciting to us ski enthusiasts. Not only are the new ski lifts exciting, but it makes the on-mountain experience significantly more enjoyable. New ski lifts reduce lines, they feel nicer, they reduce the likelihood of the lift stopping due to a mechanical failure, and they make it faster to lap runs. New ski lifts pretty much improve the skier experience in every way imaginable. So today I'm going to talk about all the ski lift upgrades / additions that are planned to happen this next year. Now before we discuss what ski lifts are in the work, let's talk about the 5 different types of ski lift upgrades / additions. The first type is a terrain expansion. A terrain expansion is when a ski resort annexes terrain that was previously out of bounds and expands the boundary of the ski resort. Oftentimes, a lift is typically added to service that new terrain. This typically happens to popular backcountry ski areas that are adjacent to the ski resort. This one typically sparks controversy as it takes away from the backcountry experience. One example of this is the Mahogany Ridge and Fish Creek expansion at Steamboat. The second type is a lift addition. A lift addition is when a new lift is added to better service existing terrain. A couple good examples of this is the Sundown Express at Vail and the Bergman Express at Keystone. The Sundown Express at Vail was added to eliminate the double lift ride that was required to lap the West Sundown Bowl terrain. Before this lift addition, it used to be where you had to ride up the High Noon Express up to the top of Mountaintop and then ski down to Mid-Vale to ride the Wildwood Express up in order to lap the terrain again. Now it is just a straight ride up Sundown. This also takes some of the strain off of High Noon on peak days, which is another plus. Now let's talk about the new Bergman Express at Keystone. This lift was added to eliminate the hike required to get to the Bergman Bowl and the adjacent bowls. They also added a bunch of beginner and intermediate terrain, which I disagree with them doing that, but I'm not going to get into any of that. So lift types 1 and 2 were both lift additions, right? The next 3 are going to be lift replacements. New lift additions may be exciting, but also upgrades can be a very big game changer as well. The third type of lift renovation is an upgrade from a fixed grip to a detachable lift. Ski lifts were traditionally made on a fixed grip system where the grip of the chair is fixed on the same cable throughout the entirety of the ride, including during the loading and unloading. A fixed grip is a very simple, basic system where it is easy to maintain, repair, and lasts a long time. Unfortunately, fixed grips have to run very slow to allow people to safely load and unload. A detachable lift is a type of ski lift where the chair detaches from the main cable and gets put on a temporary cable that spins slower at either the top or bottom terminal. This type of lift can be run at much higher speeds because it has the ability to slow down to load and unload passengers. This type of lift is more expensive and costs more to maintain and repair and has a shorter lifespan. Because of that, they typically only use these types of lifts in areas a high volume of traffic or lifts that are a long distance. Now we discussed the difference between a fixed grip and a detachable. Now let's talk about the upgrade. We all know that Vail and Alterra are the two corporate giants over the binopoly the US ski industry has. Because of the massive crowding they have at the resorts, they have been upgrading many fixed grip lifts to detachables to keep up with the crowds. Upgrading to a detachable also reduced the number of misloads. The fixed grips can be sketchy to load. Even more experienced skiers struggle to load fixed grips quite often due to their aggressive speeds. One of the most recent upgrades to a detachable was the Lenawee Express at A Basin, where they upgraded it from a fixed grip triple to a detachable 6-pack. The fourth type of lift renovation is a capacity upgrade. This one is the most common type of lift upgrade, as the ski resorts today need to increase capacity to keep up with their crowds. Another reason for this type of upgrade is better wind resistance. It has been very common for ski resorts to put in 6-packs where the extra capacity isn't necessarily needed because 6-packs are more resistant to wind than the quad lifts are. Now the fifth and final type of lift renovation is the lamest out of all of them, but probably the most important, and that would be a simple lift replacement with no capacity upgrade and no upgrade to a detachable. This type is very rare, as it isn't common for resorts to replace a lift without upgrading it. This typically happens when there is a lift that is getting old but doesn't necessarily warrant an upgrade. So they just replace it with a new lift of the same capacity. We saw that happen with the Pallavicini lift at Arapahoe Basin. Now we have gone over the type of lift upgrades, let's now get into the upgrades that are planned for the 2025/2026 ski season. The first place we are going to discuss is Sunlight Mountain, which is located right by Glenwood Springs. Sunlight plans to upgrade their Primo chair from a fixed grip double to a fixed grip quad. This lift replacement is needed as the old double is almost 60 years old and its time is coming to an end, and they are giving it a capacity upgrade as well because why not? The next upgrade I will talk about is Loveland, which is another needed lift replacement as it is a fixed grip double and was built in 1984. That would be the Chair 7, which they are upgrading it from a fixed grip double to a fixed grip quad. The next lift I am going to talk about is a lift addition at Purgatory, which is called the Gondola lift, which will be to the looker's left of the existing Needles lift. This will be a fixed grip triple. Now we covered all the smaller ski resorts, let's move on to the bigger ski resorts. The first new lift I am going to discuss is the new Shadow Mountain lift at Ajax. The existing lift is a fixed grip double that was built in 1971, so it is definitely due for a replacement. It will be upgraded to a detachable quad. Now, moving on to Snowmass, these two Snowmass upgrades are my favorite on this list. As my last visit to Snowmass, I noticed these upgrades are very necessary. Snowmass plans to replace the Cirque platter to a T-bar, which would be a huge upgrade, as the existing platter has painfully long lines as only one person can ride at a time, and for some reason nobody knows how to load the damn thing despite it being detachable, so it's constantly having to stop. So an upgrade would be very helpful there. Snowmass also plans on upgrading the Elk Camp lift from a detachable quad to a detachable 6-pack. This upgrade will be very helpful as the existing quad can be quite a choke point and also seems to break down quite often. My last visit to Snowmass back in March, I remember waiting in line for Elk Camp and the lift broke down. I was told it was going to be a minute before they got it back up, so I had to head over to Alpine Springs and make a lap there. Yeah, after that experience, I was more than happy to hear about this upgrade. Next lift I am going to discuss is probably not going to be helpful to most of us, as this is more for the locals at Aspen, but I will leave it as an honorable mention. Highlands is going to be adding a new J-bar called the Golden Horn J-bar, which is supposed to service the locals for getting on the mountain. Now we discussed the Aspen Mountains, let's move on to our final ski lift for Colorado, and that would be the Lumberjack Express at Copper. This will be an upgrade from a fixed grip triple to a detachable 6-pack. This is more for beginner skiers, so it probably isn't going to be that big of a deal for expert skiers, as there isn't any terrain worth it off of that lift. But I'm glad the beginners now have an option for more efficient skiing. Now I discussed all the Colorado upgrades, I am going to honorably mention some ski resorts outside of Colorado. Park City is getting a new 10-person Sunrise Gondola, an 8-person Silverload Express, and a new 6-person Eagle Express. Deer Valley has a lot planned for this next season. Deer Valley is going to be getting a new 10-person East Village Gondola, a 6-person Pinion Express, a 4-person Piachi Express, a 4-person Galena Express, a 4-person Hailstone Express, a 4-person Relevator Express, and a 4-person Neptune Express. Snow Basin is upgrading their Becker lift to a 4-person detachable. And finally, the biggest upgrade there is, Big Sky, Montana is upgrading their 2-passenger Explorer fixed grip chairlift to a detachable 10-passenger gondola. Yep, you heard that one correctly. I don't know about you, but that to me, that upgrade is literally 0 to 100. Like, how the fuck do you go from a fixed grip double to a 10-person gondola? Like, what the fuck? That is insane. A 10-passenger gondola as a replacement for a fixed grip double? I'm fucking speechless. Anyway, those are all the upgrades I am going to discuss for the 2025/2026 ski season. I hope y'all are looking forward to those upgrades because this next ski season is going to be wild. Thank y'all for watching. Let me know in the comments which lift upgrades you're looking forward to the most, and I'll see y'all next week. Peace out.